What happens?
No, just go with it.
All right, good evening. I'd like to call to order this Town of Dayton Commission on Disability meeting. It is March 6, 2025, and we are at Old Town Hall. This meeting is on Zoom and in person, and it is being recorded. Can I ask that we have a call of order?
Cynthia Boland, present.
Kevin Smith, present.
Nicole Mello, present.
Jonathan Gale.
And we're just letting in
I'll let
Christina.
Christina in right now.
Hi, Christina. We just did a call to order. If you could just call to order.
Hi, Christina De Oliveira.
And then we're going to still stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. The
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Mike so it picks us up.
All right, so we'll start with new business. Our first new business is discussing the budget. I had forgotten about the budget, to be honest, until I got the budget meeting and saw we were like number 2 on it. It was like, oh yeah, that's me. I'm the one now. So I'm hoping we can discuss that. I believe last year we were at 500. And then that last year was the year where we separated from Jonathan, and Jonathan went over to the town administrator budget. I'm looking for people's thoughts on the budget. I'm going to start just real quick with my own thoughts. Either one, obviously staying at the 500, or 2, I don't know if anyone's been following Trails, but they did zero out their budget for this season, just because they don't have anything going on right now, and because of the state of the town's financial situation. So it's a discussion to be had. If that was a route that we were going to go down, I would make sure that it is very clear to FinCom and the Board of Selectmen that that does not mean that we don't ever need a budget. It is important for us to have a line on an item, because there is times that we may want to use that for things. So that's just one thing that I want to be clear about. I don't want it to be that this is going to be going forward, something that's going to be no longer funded. But obviously that's something we can discuss. We can continue with the 500. I just want to hear what other members have to say. Kevin, do you have?
I mean, so I know that we're gonna, because we didn't submit a budget on time, we're gonna get some pullback
Yeah.
from that anyway.
They get voted on, I know that.
Yeah, we're not gonna get a recommendation, at least not from probably the selectmen.
Yeah, I think FinCom will still.
FinCom will probably, yeah, still give a recommendation. I mean, to me, like you said, we haven't really used it.
Yeah.
We don't have anything up, like just as kind of a good faith thing because of the town's financial situation. I mean,
I don't
if
think
you
we need to put
get,
it on the table.
well, yeah, if we get, if you get like $500 is a small amount of money, but if you get, 5 to 10 committees that do that, it does add up, and it could make the difference for, something more important. I mean, I don't foresee us needing it. And we also have special town meetings. So like if something did come up where we found a training or
Yeah.
we wanted to do a mailer, then we could always revisit if we have to, and if we are able to establish our revolving fund, we'll have that too to kind of work off of. So I'm almost like to the point where I'm okay with stepping back, go to 0, and then build ourselves back up. Like how do we zero, I'm just thinking from a department head perspective too, how do we zero-based budget when we haven't, since we did
We don't have anything, we really even know.
we have, since we've done the magnets and those things.
Yeah.
Which.
Can I offer an opinion?
Yes.
So, and I know I'm not a voting member. However, what I would say is you still have $500 this year. And I would first of all recommend finding a way to use that $500 for this year. Let's start with that. Whether that's, whether it's calendars, whether it's cups, whether it's something that can be given to people at different town events and have there, similar to what Water District does, what Stormwater does. and the other part of it, if you weren't going to use it for that, would be to have somebody come in and do some formal training for everybody and invite other committees from the town if they want to join in, to have somebody come in and do a couple-hour training on everything ADA, not me as the town ADA coordinator. I think it should be somebody from outside the town if you did that. And that way it brings other people up to speed on everything. And as an example, I just got the regulations, the required regulations for snow removal. Now that sounds silly, but it's things that people need to know, or trimming shrubs back or bushes back, or how to do other things in general. If you had the committee chairs in the town come to a general training for a couple hours, that could be that $500 for this year well spent. But I say that because my concern, knowing, if other committees do the same thing or not, is I don't want FinCom to come back next year. Again, if you do put it back in for next year's budget, or there's a need for it, and then say, well, justify the need now. Tell us what you need it for.
Well,
Well, that's what we're gonna
that's
be
the
doing.
point. Yeah,
That's the
you
point.
we shouldn't have.
Be going to the table with no ideas.
No, I'm not saying, what I'm saying is you may have a justification for it next time.
Yeah,
But,
that's,
Well, no, Nicole had mentioned that though, like.
right, but my
having known.
concern is that then they may turn around and say, well, we'll give you half that. So as opposed to getting the
Well, that's-
500 back, you get 250. It's a risk. That's all I'm saying.
No, and I'm aware of that. And regardless, it could be a risk us going now and asking for
Yeah.
500, they may want to cut it.
yeah.
But I'm
I'm
just
not a
concerned
voting member.
asking
It's just my
for,
thought. That's all.
and you made a good point, Jonathan. I didn't even think about the money we still have. We haven't even used that. So coming to FinCom and saying, I've got $500 still here and I want
And
500 more,
500 more.
and I have no plan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I really like the training idea. I never thought about that.
Mhm.
So I definitely think that would be a good.
Yeah, I think we should be proactive and like you said, find something to
Yeah.
use this year's money on.
I think it was a good idea too, like he said, handing things out, because then people might know to access the committee, you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, when we did it before, when Jonathan was the chair, and like when we had the Firecracker Festival and he handed out the calendars, it did create,
Or people kind
some
of, yeah,
feedback.
yeah.
And I think we got 1,000 calendars for like $400 something.
Okay,
I feel like zeroing it out is a fine idea, as long as, it's just known that like, hey, just because we don't need it now, doesn't mean we won't ever need, like you said.
yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, sorry.
Christina?
No, I'm wondering if we don't use it, does it go away or do we just still have it?
Goes into what, free
yeah,
cash?
this rolls into free cash. So any line item throughout the town's budget that's unused just goes to free cash for the town. And so like, that's not a big deal either. I just think like every other board committee or town entity, we're justifying it. So it's like, yeah, if we're more proactive and if we do, it'd be great if we find a training this year and we know like, all right, this is a series and going into next year, we can justify it. I just think it's like, we got to treat everybody on a level playing field as far as budgeting is concerned. And if we can't justify the use of that $500, then
Mhm.
We're asking a lot this year from our different departments to like
cut as
justify,
much. Yeah.
to really make sacrifices. So because we haven't used it and because we don't have any plans,
Yeah. And we still have the 500 from this year?
yes.
Yeah, I mean, as
Yeah.
far as this year, I'm happy to come back to the commission next month with a couple of ideas and costs for either training or things that can be purchased,
I think that I
so
would
that you guys
appreciate
can
that.
decide
Does everyone else
what you want to do.
okay with Jonathan doing that?
Yeah, I think that would be helpful.
Yeah.
'Cause he sees probably more opportunities than we do for those things.
All right, thank you,
Okay.
Jonathan. Go ahead.
I'll make a motion that we propose. Let me think about how I want to word this. I make a motion that we submit a budget of $0 for FY 26 for the Commission on Disability.
Cynthia Bowen, second.
And can I get a vote on that? Or a discussion, sorry? No?
I'm not voting again. I will say for discussion, I would caveat that the goal, I would add to suggest you amend the motion or change it a little bit, just to indicate that this is for this own fiscal year only.
No, that is,
And
it's
then it
for
doesn't
FY
preclude
26.
you. I know, I just, you know,
The sentiment is there. I don't
Yeah.
need to go
okay,
through.
okay.
And just, can I add something to discussion?
Mhm.
So because I also will be sitting at that meeting does somebody else want to come and represent our budget?
I can do that.
Okay.
I think I'm gonna be at most of them anyway.
Okay, I just don't want to, I don't feel comfortable
Mhm.
playing both
Yep.
lines at the same meeting. All right, thank you. All right, so, and vote. Can you
Cynthia
vote?
Bowen, aye.
Kevin Smith,
Christina De Oliveira, aye.
I'm sorry if we already voted and that was a double vote.
I don't know, I said second, but I don't know if I meant to.
I got a quick question. 'Cause I know, I was thinking of this in my, and I should have just checked the email. Is it CY?
Yeah.
I thought so.
Why?
I spelled it wrong in the minutes. I
Oh,
put in C.
oh, you know what? I did notice that when I read it.
And
I noticed
C-
it wasn't even your last name. She's married, but she writes everything else with her other last name. So I
do
was
you
like,
mean?
isn't Olivera?
But I didn't change my last name yet.
Oh, you haven't, never
No,
mind.
no.
All right, we're still good. All right. I was like, this isn't right. Okay. Next is annual report. That was just, because I was behind on the budget, I was like, okay, I gotta start thinking about what's the next thing. I looked through and I'm guessing Jonathan wrote the annual report because it was the longest one in the thing.
But I have to say, I'm gonna take a little credit here and say that each time I did it, Leanne said those are amazing reports.
No, it was great. You were extremely thorough. I don't know how the rest of the group feels. I don't know if you would still be up to writing the annual report. I know.
For a $500 fee.
Tapped out.
I wish Jonathan was joking.
So I think it would be the most appropriate approach
If we do it together.
is almost to have like the ADA coordinators report as a subsection.
Yeah, I think
you know?
that's a great idea.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Why don't I'll work on a draft. I'll do a subsection and I'll send you what I think will work for both of us as a draft. Give me about 2 weeks.
Okay, sounds good.
All right, so by next month.
It's due by April 1st, technically.
Oh,
Okay. And then I'll go off of
Yeah.
what and then whatever I need to add.
Does that work for what you're thinking?
Yeah, hold on. I'll just, to make that kind of work on an official status, I'll make a motion that Nicole and Jonathan work collectively to submit the Commission on Disability annual report.
Cynthia Bowen, second?
Yep. Any more discussion? And can I get a vote?
Cynthia Bowen, aye.
Christina De Oliveira, aye.
Kevin Smith, aye.
All right, thank you. Excellent. All right. All right, so next is we're going to discuss, we have town meeting warrant articles. I think we potentially have two. I don't know if we're bringing back up that one didn't the bylaw changes not go through last time?
No, that passed.
Oh, it did?
We just need to wait for the Attorney General.
Okay.
We haven't heard back.
Then never mind, this is the one. Sorry to scare you, Kevin. You looked concerned.
Yeah, we haven't heard back yet.
Okay, so we're waiting on the Attorney General. How long does that generally take? Do we know?
6 months to a year typically.
Oh,
Yep.
All right. Here. All right, Kevin, so you were gonna,
So I looked into that. So that it isn't a warrant article, like say if we were requesting funding or something like that, or the bylaw, we would actually have to draft the warrant article. What we actually need to do, because this is what we had to do for parks, and I know like Council on Aging did it, the police did it, is we need to request that the Board of Selectmen, town administrator and town accountant submit a bylaw change to include adding the Commission on Disability revolving fund,
so it's the Board of Selectmen, the town accountant, and who was the third?
town administrator. So they'll actually produce that warrant article. Like we just need to
What, draft
essentially
an email?
just ask.
All right,
Yeah.
Yeah. So you'd need to go as the chair
yep.
to them to do that.
A bylaw change.
And then you just have to note that it will be from fees collected from handicap parking violations. Because like when you look at that chart, it will say what department it is, what the fees are, and then a cap, like they'll usually tell you to cap it
yeah.
at a certain amount. So you almost like would take direction from Serena on that, like usually the town accountant is gonna tell you. It'll probably be starting off, like $2,000.
Yeah,
And then, if for some reason we collect, which I don't think we're gonna, if we start collecting crazy fees, there is the ability to adjust it. They
Okay.
typically keep it low.
all right.
I do know that most revolving accounts, like say if they go, and this is just for everybody's general knowledge, if it goes over $10,000, anything in excess of $10,000 would actually get rolled over to your general fund, just as an FYI.
Okay.
So like when you have revolving funds, you need to try to use them.
Okay.
Because anything
They're rolled out.
in excess.
Oh,
is rolled
yeah.
out. Yeah, so just so everybody kind of is aware.
And if we start calling the police every single time somebody's in a handicap spot,
Mhm.
we could really,
Really raking the dough.
we may not have to ask for a budget again.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, because I looked on the town's website just quick and I didn't really see it. Do you know, as I know you guys voted to, selectmen voted to open the warrant, do you know what the closing date is?
Oh, I meant to write that in my, we
Yeah.
voted on it too, and I can't remember.
So
I was
it'll be-
supposed to have it in my notes.
It'll be in the recording then.
Yeah. I can look back, I can't look back now, but I have it in
I
my,
don't know why in my head I have May 12th, but I could be wrong.
Oh, man, that's tight to get everything produced and.
well, it would make, that's too close, I think, to town meeting.
Actually, let me call Karen and ask her right now.
No, you don't have, it's not that boring.
Poor Karen.
Yeah, no, it's,
Okay, I won't.
All right.
no, I was just curious.
Yeah. Okay, so I will send that email to the Board of Selectmen, Town Accountant, and Town Administrator to submit a request for the bylaw change for the revolving fund to collect funds from handicap parking violations. Yeah, right, I'll do that over the weekend. Does anyone have any further discussion on that? No? Okay. All right, so I added this last one, the helmet program. So I was thinking the other day when Jonathan was at the Board of Selectmen meeting and you were talking, and we were talking about voting.
Yep.
But you had mentioned the 20%.
Correct.
And we say that percentage a lot. And we don't really know what the percentage is because it could be fluctuating. But then I started to think about, as a nurse, what I always think about is prevention in regards to certain disabilities.
Mhm.
So then I started to think about when I drive around town, I see a lot of kids not wearing helmets. And I was thinking that maybe the Commission on Disability could partner with the police department on a program like I Got Caught. It's, some places call it, I forgot what the other name that they call it is, like the helmet program. And it's just when they see a child with a helmet on, they give them a ice cream voucher. And it's just to promote kids wearing helmets. Our police force recently, over last summer, got bikes. They love the bikes. So they could even be out on bikes.
Yeah.
And they might want to partner with us to potentially save some folks from a disability, from a brain trauma, from a bike accident. When I was looking it up, it was like in 2021, more adults were dying from bike accidents from not wearing helmets than they have in previous years.
Yeah, brain injury too is huge.
Yeah, so I didn't know if that was something, it gets, one, it gets the commission's name out there, two, potentially we're saving a life, helping a child. So I didn't know how you guys felt about that. I'm always big on prevention.
So that is actually something like we could maybe do with our $500.
Yeah.
Maybe instead of like ice cream vouchers, because then it's like we could almost have to go solicit like Tom and Jimmy's, which I'm sure they would.
We already have a partnership with the police department, as far as I
Maybe
know.
like as like for our incorporation, just to get our name out there is maybe we can print like little cards
Mhm.
and like I know I buy stuff, we have the town's Amazon account.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Buy like lollipops or something, and like if those guys on
Yeah.
patrol go out,
Yeah.
hand out, something that's, from the Commission on Disability, thanks for being safe,
Yeah.
like with a tag,
That's a good idea.
for, like Facebook page or something like that.
Yeah, you can just take a couple lollipops and put them in a little tiny baggie with a card,
Yeah,
Yeah.
all right, I
something
love
like that.
that.
That's an idea too.
So what do you guys think about that idea? Is that something?
Yeah, I think it's something,
I'll send it over out to the chief, obviously, and have a discussion.
Well, maybe too, like if we look before, because obviously like, we're still a little ways away from like peak nice weather.
Yeah.
Is like when we have our, what is, it's March, right?
Yeah,
When we have our April meeting, maybe we can look at a like cost of like something like bulk lollipops or
yeah.
some little printing things. I'll look
Even
into
those
that.
dum-dums aren't too expensive.
Yeah.
It comes with a big bag of them. Even the Tootsie Pops are, decent priced.
All right. Do we have to vote on that or anything?
No, I don't think we need to, because it's kind of just like an initiative. Like, I think when we get to the point that if we wanted to purchase something and, yeah, we could draft a little card and cost of, whatever we want to hand out.
Okay,
So,
sounds good.
yeah, no, I like that.
Yeah, that's a good
All
idea.
right, let's see. We're on old business. So we have member reports. Does any of the members have anything to report on?
Do you want mine or?
You'll be next, Jonathan.
Well, that's why I asked you that.
I think it.
I'll let you know, the CPAC has a few events coming up that would be before our next meeting, but, we have a webinar about executive functioning. That's March 24th. And then, that's like all on Zoom. But, April 4th, we have Jan Randall from Community Autism Resources coming to our meeting to give a presentation on all the things that people can get. So I can send you that.
Yeah, that would be great.
Christine, if you could send those things to me, then I'll make sure they go up on our Facebook page.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Did you have anything, Kevin?
Trying to think. No, I don't believe, no.
Do you have anything, Cindy?
No.
I don't have anything, but I do have a question for you, Jonathan, before you go into your report. Have you reached out at all to anyone in regards to, how Zoom and remote may be ending soon? That seems like something that like the ADA coordinator would write a letter to the powers that be.
So the answer to the question is there is no answer. There's no decision yet.
No.
I actually had a conversation last week, or 2 weeks ago, I should say now, with the general counsel from MOD, Mass Office on Disability, to find out what the new criteria is going to be. Whether or not it's going to be, we will be able to offer Zoom or have to offer Zoom or hybrid versions, continuing for people with disabilities. The answer that we got yet is that she doesn't have an answer from the AG's office, who disseminates it from the governor's office.
Okay.
They were hoping to have it by the end of this month. We'll see. I'm going to go a different direction as well and go back through the Attorney General's office, because right now the Mass Office on Disability has a new commissioner coming in, and general counsel has moved to another agency
All right.
over the last week. So I'll find out as soon as I know. I'll send an email out to everybody, because
Okay.
I'll probably have to disseminate it to everyone in town.
Okay. Thank you. I appreciate
Are
that.
they saying that they're trying to eliminate it as far as like you being able to establish your quorum through Zoom?
I think that it wouldn't be mandated anymore. Is that?
They were trying to no longer have it mandated and let it be optional, strictly optional.
I think a lot of people are still going to use
Or
it.
Yeah.
a lot will.
Yeah.
I'm sure, but it was going to be optional or required upon request if a person with disability, quote unquote, made a request so many days in advance.
Yeah.
So that was the leading of thinking as far as up to 2 weeks ago.
Gotcha.
Your report, Jonathan?
Not a lot overall. I think with a lot of things that are going on in general with, in Washington right now, for better or worse, I've gotten more calls that are asking about benefit things that have really nothing to do with us. Do you know if I'm going to lose my mass health? Do you know if I'm going to this? Do you know if I'm going to that? And all I can say to them is you need to call those agencies.
Yeah.
So those are, I've probably gotten about maybe over the past 6 weeks, about 20 calls like that overall. And I'm just referring them to the agencies that they need to speak to. And my response is that won't have any direct effect on town support and services, because those are other services. The biggest one that people have asked about, oddly enough, but it also makes sense, is the ride for people who in town who have disabilities and need GATRA to get them to medical appointments and things like that. And they're afraid, will the town have augmented services if we lose the ride? And we haven't even gone to that level yet.
Mhm.
So it's too early to even start having those discussions with anybody in town. So I don't have an answer on that one. As far as people, otherwise, I've gotten several calls still from the school department about IEPs and 504s. There is currently, there are a number of states who filed legislation to eliminate 504s completely. And there are 17 states attorneys generals that have filed federal lawsuit to eliminate it. And the answer to that one, again, for those parents who know about it or see it on Facebook that I tell them is, we're not going to know anything. It's eventually one way or another, no matter how you go, it's going to be way down the road because it's going to weave its way up to the Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court is going to tell us whether they're going to be eliminated or not. And then the question I'm asked from parents is whether or not mass law will supersede that. And again, that sort of depends on how the Supreme Court rules on it, whether they throw it back to states or not. So that's way down the road too. And then I've gotten several calls about intersections in town, safe or not. Can I put a sign up? Can I put a deaf sign up? Can I put a, disability child sign up? A few things like that as well. I did have a conversation with the police chief last week about the intersection right outside here at Center Street. And he and I are going to begin exploring together with the State Department of Transportation, looking at ways to get an engineering study funded. He would like to have that intersection, and I agree with him, have, a sound at the lights, like a chirp, and poles where people press the button and you get a chirp sound like you do in other places.
Yeah, the one near, over here, right?
Yes, right,
Okay,
yeah,
yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah, so that there's, it's disability friendly. That may involve revamping the intersection. We don't know. It could involve sidewalk mitigation coming up to it. We just talked about it last week. So I've just reached out this week to DOT to start the process and at least get the ball rolling.
That's a state highway, right?
Yes,
So
it
we
is.
would just be trying to push to get the state to.
Yes, that's why we're going to DOT.
Yeah, well, and the state wanted this trail over here and they wanted the trailhead to be over at
Right.
Slaggy. And that was like, well, if you're encouraging bikers to come this way,
Yep.
you should be doing something about this light.
Yep.
Well, the great news is there should be little to no local cost.
Yeah.
No, and that's what, and
Yeah.
that's the goal.
I
I mean,
hope
the
so.
first process is to find out from DOT what they're going to require from the town so that they can begin an engineering study.
Mhm.
I mean, we're going to be looking before they even put it on radar for 3 to 6 months minimum. But it will give the police chief and I a chance to get all the paperwork in, give them any documents they want for former traffic studies that have been done for other things, see if there's any new local traffic studies they want, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So we just started that process last week. So stay tuned because it's going to be a long process, I'm sure.
Mhm.
But that's something that we're gonna start working on too. The library building project, as you all know, I'm on the library building committee. The ramps are in. The ramps do meet the specs. There are a few little things on the ramps that have to be tweaked. The railings are in. So far, so good. We are going to be putting electric doors from the grant that we got. There'll be electric doors on both ramps
Nice.
so that whether it's the public access ramp or the side ramp, both doors will open the way they're supposed to with electric in and out. And then the lavatories inside will also have electric in and out as well. And we're just in the process. I'll be meeting with the library director next week so that we can order the technology equipment that we need for people with disabilities, for computers and speech and other types of enhancements for people with disabilities. We are going to be putting together, which I'll be asking you guys to help with too. Probably late in spring, a forum for our residents to discuss. And this includes, Christine, for families in your program and through the schools as well. We're going to be looking to all of the town's programs, residents and committees to come to a meeting to talk about types of things we can do to enhance the library for adults and children with disabilities, whether it's through books, whether it's through the recreation rooms, activities, programming, whatever. So that forum we're going to probably put together in early June. I think that's pretty good for now. That's enough.
All right, thank you so much, Jonathan. All right, let me see where we're at. All right, everyone's favorite, discuss the PMA report. Like a broken record. I know last time we had, so the meeting that we didn't have because of the snow that never happened. we were gonna all come and we were gonna like look through the KMA report and go, I'm guessing we're not gonna do that tonight because we focused on a lot of other things.
I know, I read that in my minutes. Kevin,
Yeah.
and I'm like, oh, real good job, Kevin.
But do you think maybe we can do that the next meeting?
Yeah.
All right.
And I like, and it's like such a, I don't know why, but this is like the one.
I know,
meeting
I have the same issue.
that like, I'm like, how is it already here?
I
Like,
feel like we just had it every.
yeah, like the rest of them, like, I'm like, oh, yeah, that's a couple weeks away. COD every time, I'm like, oh my, Nicole sends the agenda, and I'm like, oh.
It's that time of year.
It's the scariest email you get.
If you're not able to get to it seriously, and I don't mean that as a joke, because
No,
you're flat out.
it's done. I just need
Okay.
to print it.
Okay,
Like, it's as simple as just like,
okay,
you know what I need to do is I'm gonna set like a reminder on my phone a week before
Yeah,
to say, Kevin, print out KMA report. Cause I have it broken down,
Mhm.
like in a very good way that's understandable. It's just,
yeah, we think that if we actually have it printed in front of us,
Yeah.
that will be more effective.
Jotting notes
Because
and
we
stuff.
just
Yeah.
haven't been the way we're going forward now.
Mhm.
All right, update on the lower level town hall threshold request. I can't remember what we did last time, and I'm gonna be honest, I didn't read the minutes.
So-
Oh, well, I presume.
last time we just left it and we left it as we were going to draft a letter
Okay,
to send to the Board of Selectmen. You call it, recommend, and I actually did do that. I did do one of my requirements.
yay.
I didn't email it to you guys mistakenly. I sent the minutes and not this. But if you'd like, kind of want me to read it out and then we can
It's up to you.
discuss.
I'd like to hear it.
Yeah,
Well, we'll have to vote on it, so.
okay, yeah.
That's-
I don't remember what-
Unless you have like telekinesis. All right, so I just had, put, Dear Board of Selectmen, the Commission on Disability kindly requests your attention to an accessibility matter at Town Hall. Through the KMA Accessibility Evaluation Report and personal observations, the commission has identified the Town Hall lower level main entrance threshold as a major issue. The existing threshold does not meet the ADA height standards as cited in the KMA report and has shown to impede entrance to the lower level of the building, particularly for wheelchair users. The Commission on Disability has worked with the building commissioner to obtain a quote for the replacement of the above-mentioned threshold. We received a quote from Somerset Glass Company in the amount of $945 to replace the threshold. We also noted that the quote did not reflect that the threshold would be replaced with an ADA compliant threshold and asked that the quote be amended prior to approval. We have attached the section of the KMA report along with the quote from Somerset Glass for your review and consideration. We kindly ask for your approval in addressing this matter, removing an evident accessibility barrier at our town hall. Sincerely, Dayton Commission on Disability members.
That sounds great.
Yeah.
Everyone in agreement? Can I get a motion on accepting that? You want to make a motion?
Sure.
Do we, I'm just curious, did you say that, I know you said, excuse me, the KMA recommendation is attached. Do we know that this glass company is familiar with the ADA standard?
Well, that's what.
That's what we were gonna go
Yeah, no,
back
That's
to.
why,
Yeah, so like,
Okay, that's why,
this is just
okay.
like strict kind of to get the ball rolling.
okay, all right,
Um,
because they may not be, and I'm just wondering if we should attach the standard to it. If we should
Well, no,
indicate,
That's, yeah.
well, no, the standard is cited in the KMA report.
okay,
Yeah.
okay, yeah, that's true.
Yeah, it says that less
Okay.
than 3/4 of an inch.
Okay, and you're gonna
Yeah.
give them, okay,
Yeah, so I'll break out that one
Okay.
page.
all
And,
right.
and then
okay,
I
I'm
have to
sorry.
go back to Jim and have him go back to the glass company and confirm
That
that it's ADA,
Compliant.
because it's
Right.
not stated in.
Yeah, it just like says change a
Yep.
so
Yeah.
many inch threshold, like it was
We're
very.
gonna do that before we
Yeah,
move forward.
and they can always reach out to me too,
Okay,
you know, so, because I'm gonna look at it with, anyway, when they're done, and if it's
Yeah.
not, then I'm gonna have to redo it.
yeah,
Yeah.
Okay,
All right, so
that's great.
I'll make a motion to submit the letter of recommendation as read to the Board of Selectmen.
Okay, I second the motion.
yep. Any further discussion? Negative vote?
Cynthia Boland, I.
Kevin Smith, aye.
Christina De Oliveira, aye.
Nicole Mello, aye. I don't think I've been saying that, but I'm an aye for all.
Okay.
Can I just ask, and I'll ask you, Nicole, since the
Yeah.
Board of Selectmen is going to be reading this letter or receiving this letter, where are the funds coming? Where would the funds come from?
We had went over this with prior town administrator, and he had said that there was it like a
Yeah,
repair
like a
or
building maintenance.
something along those lines?
Okay.
How much is in there and
That's a
that, yeah, I'm not sure.
Okay,
All right, and and now that we have another town administrator, I don't know if that's gonna go a different route. I can't imagine that it would, because that's the only place that I could think it would come from, but,
okay. Thank you.
all right, so next we're at review and approve minutes from the 1/9/2025 meeting.
Anybody have any changes that they saw besides, ready? I'm gonna make a motion to approve the minutes from the January 9th, 2025 meeting minutes with making the correction of Cynthia's name spelling.
Oh. How's it spelled?
I don't know.
I think I literally like did lazy like Cindy, like CINDY
Oh,
instead,
that's fine.
but it's not.
It's
It's not. It's not.
fine.
It's fine.
No.
Yeah, second that motion.
Any further discussion? Vote.
Christina De Oliveira, aye.
Cynthia Bull and I.
Kevin Smith, I.
Nicole Mello, aye. All right. Do we have any public input? Do we have any public?
The only thing I'm going to say, which is not directly related to this committee, but so that it's out there and hopefully members of this committee will participate, is that open space on the 19th of April, time to be determined. We are organizing a townwide cleanup. And we're going to identify with other committee chairs, Parks and Rec, a few places in town that could really use a cleanup. And we're going to be asking all of the committees in town to please have at least one, if not two members volunteer for that date on the 19th with a rain date of the 26th, time to be determined. So I just want it out there, and hopefully there'll be two other members besides me from here who will volunteer on that date. Or bring your family members, your kids, whoever, your friends,
Spread the
whoever.
word to people.
Yeah, that's great.
So, and the town will be providing the equipment, the bags, et cetera, through Tom Ferry. And we're reaching out to, as I said, all the committees, all the sports programs, the churches, all the different organizations like Lions and the others in town, to ask everyone to please get volunteers on board so that we can really do a reasonable townwide cleanup. And we're going to be looking for donations to provide coffee and things like that as well.
Nice.
All right, do we have a motion to adjourn?
I will make a motion to adjourn at 5:43.
Second?
Yep. And a vote.
Christina De Oliveira, aye.
Cynthia Bull and I.
Nicole Mello, aye. All right, and we're adjourned.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
I hope so.